my informative speech, Speech 205, the date's July 1st, 2013. Today I'm going to speak to y'all about the game of tennis because I believe a lot of people either know a lot about it or they know very little at all. First I'm going to go into just a brief history of where the game came from, and then I'm going to move on to how to take score and just some basic rules of the game. Most historians believe, or a lot of historians believe, that tennis dates back as far as the early Egyptians, but in an article I read written by Bonnie Singleton, The Origins of Tennis as a Sport, she states in the article that tennis was not introduced until the early 11th and 12th centuries by French monks who just used their hands to hit the ball back and forth. And then also that the word tennis comes from the French root tenez, which means take this. And later on in her article, she states that the racket that we're all used to seeing today wasn't introduced or invented until the early 15th century. And now I'm going to move on to just some basic rules of the game. I drew a tennis court here. I'm going to start with the net, which is in the middle. And if a ball is hit into the net at any point, then the point's over unless you're serving, because you get 2 chances to hit the ball over the net into the service boxes. If you hit the first serve into the net, then it's a fault, and if you hit the second serve into the net, then it's a double fault, and you would lose the point and switch sides. And while you're serving, you actually hit the ball diagonally into the service box, diagonal from you. And then the service lines right here, I always think of them as you can't hit the ball past the service line or it'll be out, and it'll also be a fault. Then we have the baseline. We have the baseline at the top and the bottom. This is where you'll be standing to either return, serve, or serve. And it's basically just another boundary. If you hit the ball out past the line, then it's out and you lose the point. Then right here we have the doubles alleys, which you don't use unless you're playing doubles, and it just serves as another boundary. It gives you extra space to play doubles. And now I'm just going to move on to some of the how to take score. In a general tennis match, there's best 2 out of 3 sets, and then in each set there's 6 games, and in each game there's 4 points. And the point system works basically if the game starts 0-0, and if I were to win the first point, then it would be 15 love or 15-0, and then if I were to lose the second point, then it would be 15 all. And it continues like this until either somebody gets to 40 and wins the next point, or if somebody gets to 40, or if both players get to 40, then it's a deuce point. And at deuce, you would have to win 2 points in a row in order to win the game. So if I win the first point of a deuce, then it would be advantage me. And then if I lose the second point, then it would go back to deuce. But if I win the second point, then I would win the game, and we would switch sides and go on to the next game. Now I'm going to move on just to some basic shots and just show you some strokes. In tennis, everybody has their own style of play, either using top spin or just hitting the ball flat, or using slices. I was always top spin because you get a lot more control out of top spin, and if you get your top spin good enough, it can actually help you out because the ball will jump higher than normal if just swinging straight through the ball. So with a topspin forehand, you would brush up over the ball and end up over your shoulder like this. And then also with a topspin 2-hand backhand, you would end up coming up over your shoulder, unlike somebody who would say a 1-hand backhand, which is more flat and just goes across the ball. And then you have the serve, a topspin serve. You would go up and brush over the ball and kind of flick your wrist, and you would end up down by your hip. And then a slice shot, a slice, you want to like catch the ball kind of and cradle it, and it creates a backspin that if it goes over the net, then it'll spin towards you instead of spinning towards the opponent, which makes it harder for them to reach it. And then it's the same way for the forehand. You would just come down and easily catch it and kind of just flick your wrist and try to create backspin. Next, I'm going to move into just how to play the game and give you a good tip how to win. The most interesting and frustrating thing about tennis to me is that no matter how good you are at hitting your shots, no matter how good your mechanics are, no matter how good you can place the ball where you want to, it really comes down to the mental ability to get over losing points that you shouldn't have lost, and especially when the competition gets higher because people get better and they can figure you out as well. I have a quote by my old tennis coach, Tim Driscoll. He works at the Pavilion in Greenville, and the Greenville News actually interviewed him. And his quote says, "You have to rely on yourself to make adjustments to your game, your opponent's game, and to figure out their strengths and weaknesses. Figure out what strengths and weaknesses are, and also what you were doing well that day." This is really good advice, but it's hard to follow because really the mental side, you end up beating yourself. If you get down on a point that you should have won, then that helps them out more than you think it would. And if you let that beat you, then you're not going to be able to think about what they're doing right and what they're doing wrong, and what you should do to keep them on their toes and keep them guessing. To wrap this up, I played tennis for 6 years, and I got to that point where it started getting really competitive, and it really is hard to keep your mind straight and just figure out you have to figure out what their weaknesses are. That's the biggest part of tennis, and I just hope that all of this helps you later on if you want to play tennis, or if you're watching a tennis match, you can kind of pick up on these kind of things. And that's it. Thank you.